I set out to become the ultimate Jiu-Jitsu black belt. After getting pummeled by Gabriel Souza and departing my hometown, we make our way up to Chicago, Illinois to fight another devastating black belt. Before getting to face him, we have to make our way through 3 tough challenges. The first one being a man nicknamed the King of Blue Belts, Andrew.
Blue belts here, we call him like the King of Blue Belts, so he keeps all the other blue belts in check.
Andrew and I kick off the first round of the day, playing contently, not looking to give up any early advantage to each other. Everyone should know that a big boy willing to sit to guard is a big problem, so I need to be really careful to navigate my way around his guard. Also guys, at the end of the video, I'll be sharing a way to win a free gi as well as some other free jiu-jitsu gear, so make sure to stick around. But now back to the roll. I try to step into headquarters, but Andrew moves my whole body weight with just his thigh, so I retreat before I get caught in his grips. Ironically, I get caught in his shin-to-shin grip, so I settle my weight down and Andrew wraps me up in a half guard. I make sure to keep my weight back onto his hips and avoid leaning too far so I don't get swept. I'll then try to flatten out his hips and search for my topside underhook, but Andrew is doing a good job at staying on his right side and keeping his elbow tucked to negate my passing options. I then make a big no-no and allow Andrew to grip up on my wrist. As I use literally every ounce of strength that I have to try and free myself from the grip, Andrew surprises me with an inversion. However, I negate it with some ass-to-mat action and block him from getting under my hips. Getting back into the game, I pummel my left leg into the inside position and jump onto a knee cut. Andrew once again closes the underhook, so I cup his neck and block his hip to try and swivel myself into side control. Unfortunately, I didn't calculate the grip strength of his knees and the fact that even after using all my pressing power, I'm unable to free myself from quarter guard. Andrew jerks up and gets a deep underhook. With my knee torqued and the control gained with the underhook, he rolls backwards, sending me onto my ass and puts himself into a very heavy top position. Normally, I do fairly well on my back, but as technical as Andrew is, things aren't gonna go my way. In order to help myself out, I try to make it apparent as to not let his weight go directly on top of me. However, my instincts kick in and I screw myself by trying to invert as he falls back into my reverse De La Riva. Contemplating my life choices now, I've determined to not expose myself any more than I already have. I try to use the triangle to make him back off, but with my knees pressed up against my ears, it's not as threatening as I'd like it to be. Things take a gruesome turn as Andrew folds me up like a pretzel, and with my meniscus currently being shoved down my throat, I decide it's time to get the fuck out of this position. I widen my hips to make it hard for him to stack me. I then raise my hips, and as Andrew goes to crush my legs to the side, I post in his armpit and direct his weight away from me. He covers the space in the side control, but because he has no control over my upper body, I grab what I believe is called an octopus grip and strip out to turtle. The smash leaks his way back on top of me, but I'm able to use my feet and get back into a half guard. However, Andrew doesn't let me escape that easily. He continues to press forward, body surfing around my half guard and locking onto a gift wrap. Miraculously, I'm able to find his hip with my foot and successfully recover to close guard. Now in close guard, I waste no time completely butchering the hand fight and allow Andrew to jump up to his feet with practically no resistance. After establishing a good base, he thrusts forward, putting me into an open guard. From here, I always remember to keep my feet on his shoulders and keep tabs on his wrists. However, in this roll, I decide to abandon all of my fundamentals and roll right into another smash pass. What I was actually going for here was an inverted triangle. However, I should have learned that the first time it was a death wish, because now Andrew punishes me for it as he passes my guard and locks me up into side control. While in a competitive match, there could be an argument that I avoided the points by moving into turtle, that doesn't negate the fact that I fucked up a long time ago and I now have to work extra hard if I want to escape, let alone prevent the submission. Working towards a rear naked, Andrew executes a beautiful dilemma by controlling my bottom arm, and then as he threatens the top hook, I defend by letting go of his wrist and he shoots it under my chin. Luckily for me, he ends up missing the bottom hook, allowing America's ass to inch out just enough to avoid the sub. Realizing the choke is a lost battle, he transitions in a mount and quickly whips me around like a record by Flo Rida and starts to hunt my back once more. Thankfully, as we spin around this time, I end up significantly low under his chest. From here, I can easily win the upper body control and prevent any submission threats. After a few seconds, Andrew works his way down my back and gets control behind my elbow to shoot in another deep rear naked choke. Using the same defense as the last attack, I remove the top hook and turtle my hips to finally escape back control. Realizing that my arm is in jeopardy, I quickly hide it behind his knee before getting back on top, and with only a few seconds left in the round, I dive onto a loose knee cut to solidify a pass. But unfortunately for me, the round ends before I can find a submission, and the King of Blue Belts continues his reign. The next challenge that I have to face is a lethal brown belt named Nick. I start off walking blindly into his butterfly hooks, but it's okay because my dump truck of an ass is going to negate his lifting power by sinking down, buying me just enough time to pummel my foot to the inside position. I use that same technique, this time securing headquarters and looking for my passing openings. Unfortunately, due to an elbow injury from earlier in my trip, while the knee slice is very much open, I decided to find a different way for the time being. I lean forward, putting both my hands on the floor, giving my rear end the ability to float. I'll then take my left leg and pommel it over his shin to start the sequence, and after feeling like Gordon Ryan for a whole 2 seconds, he easily pushes it off. I then go for a front pummel and Nick shrugs me to the side, so I use this as an opportunity to hop on my signature move, but he's quick to it and catches my foot in midair to defend my sunsetter triangle. After giving me the nice try look, we get right back into the action. This time I lock up a shin to shin grip of my own. I'll use this to elevate Nick, and as he peels my foot from his hip, I weave it inside and put him in a modified single leg X. From this position, it's essential that I keep Nick's hands on the mat, as it completely compromises his base and limits his mobility, making it incredibly predictable. Unfortunately, I'm no wizard, and with a very poorly timed triangle attack, Nick escapes from a very dangerous guard. However, that's not going to stop my one-trick white belt mentality as I go in for another hip bump triangle. He defends and I go for the snap down, but ultimately Nick reverts to guard to protect himself from my spastic blue belt tendencies. With confidence in my leg pummeling abilities, I once again sit to his butterfly hooks and secure my headquarters. As this is the 3rd time this scenario has happened in this role, we share a laugh before getting back to trying to rip one another apart. Although flow passing hasn't worked for my past few attempts, that obviously means we have to try it even more. I pummel a hook over his shin, this time trying a different strategy of trying to sink and grab his head. Nick then elevates me and pushes against his armpit to wrap up a similar grip to myself in the first round. This time he uses it to his advantage and puts me on the bottom. Nick gives me a heads up that due to a foot injury he'd rather play guard, so I use my telekinetic energy to put him back on bottom, giving me an imaginary 2 points. Alright, this is where things get heated and I decide to turn it up big time. I drop into a low headquarters and I finally catch an underhook on my healthy left side. I'll end up tripoding myself up and allow Nick to lift my weight, waiting for a good opportunity to backstep. Everything is looking good until I front roll, thinking I got the pass, but somehow I end up on bottom side control. Nick takes this time to cave his shoulder deep into my neck, making it miserable as he steps over in a mount. I'm able to catch him in quarter guard and I begin to inch my way out using a hip and elbow escape. Playing the cards he's dealt, he turns my guard recovery into a back take. However, if you guys have been keeping up with me for a while, you know my super secret special move, the bell escape, and I use this to escape back control. While we did have some rough matches today, both going without a submission, in the next video we take on the gym leader of Maximus Jiu-Jitsu, and he's not going to let me get away that easily. Now, as promised, the giveaway. My friends at YJJS and I are hosting a giveaway on my Instagram for free jiu-jitsu gear. If you want to look slicker hitting your hip bump triangles and blast knee cuts, head on over to my Instagram at Carsahh for more information.